And we're back. I hope everybody can see our screen. Sorry, you had a little trouble there. So yeah, welcome. We're really happy to have you on board for this webinar. We will be talking about education, as I mentioned a second ago. And I will briefly move over to our slides. I hope we can see them well. So this is me, this is Georgia, and this is Olga. We don't have a photo of Max yet, but next time he'll be in. This is today's setup. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to start with a 45-minute presentation. We're going to walk you through a lot of interesting things, a lot of examples that we've seen of Layar being used in an educational setup. And as I mentioned before, please ask us your questions using the GoTo question box. And we will have also a questions and answers section at the end of this, and we'll be able to answer them. You will be able to get this deck, the recording of the webinar, and an industry overview, which is similar to a white paper, but basically you're just going to get a bit of a more detailed overview of how to use augmented reality in education. This is part of the Layar and Business webinar series, so we're really glad to have you on board. Actually, some of our upcoming events include a webinar on how to get more out of interactive print, and it basically walks you through our best practices, and we can help you get started with it. The second one is the introduction to the Layar Partner Network, and then as you probably see, we'll be there at the Magnet Conference in Toronto. If you can make it, that would be great. But going forward with this is our agenda for today. So we're going to talk a little bit about Layar. It's just a short introduction, talk about Layar in education, show you a couple of examples, and also some tips for using augmented reality in education. And these are things that we've seen that are absolutely, obviously they're new, but they're also effective in the educational sector and more so in the learning process. We're going to have a short product walkthrough, so just for you to get an idea of what Layar is actually doing and how you can use it. And we're going to introduce a new pricing for you especially. And then obviously have a questions and answers. So let's just get started. I'm just going to talk a little bit about augmented reality for those of you who are not familiar with it. In 1968, probably it's actually preceding the internet by a couple of years. We're talking about Ivan Sutherland, who basically created a heads-up display, and it was basically showing wireframe drawings in real time. You can kind of imagine it as a pixelated augment seeing around your area, basically. But in a more mainstream way, basically, the introduction of augmented reality has been there actually with the Terminator, with the movie. So those of you who are actually familiar with the movie will probably remember that Arnold used to see the bad guys around him and be able to, hunt them down, I guess, yeah, was it true? Okay. And then in 1992, Tom Caudell and David Mazzell coined the term augmented reality. And they were basically working at Boeing at the time, engineers basically trying to optimize the production process and make it easier for them to find their way through the wiring system of a plane, which we all know it's really complex. This is just to give you a brief overview of the augmented reality history. You'll find some more information about that in our industry overview. But let's talk a little bit about Layar. So, obviously in 2009, with the advent of smartphones and cameras that also embedded a digital compass, Layar realized that there's a lot of potential to deliver this kind of digital content to anybody who actually has one of these devices. And what is really great about that, and if you take a closer look at the smartphone usage at a global level, you see that augmented reality rides the wave of smartphone growth. So we have, a huge projected growth of smartphone usage from 1.5 billion to almost 5 billion, which is huge. And I think all of us can see the effect of that in our daily lives. right? So how does it actually work? And this is where the magic happens, right? It starts with an attention-grabbing front page, or it can be, I don't know, it can be an image with a strong call to action. And what I mean by call to action is literally a piece of text or of graphic that can grab your attention as a reader and basically make you scan the page, which is actually the next step. You hold a device over the page with the Layar app and you tap to scan. What happens afterwards basically is that the image is then analyzed and the fingerprint is actually looked up in the cloud database. We're gonna touch upon that in a minute, but basically it matches up against the fingerprint that it has in the database, and after that match, digital media is downloaded and placed on the image itself. So imagine basically a piece of print coming to life. And what you see there, an example, is a nice proposal. So if anybody has any of these ideas, please send them through if you happen to put any of this in practice. But basically, this is how it all happens. I hope you're familiar with this already. If you are not, I strongly encourage you to download the Layar app and go to our website. We have a lot of examples there in the inspiration page, and you can get a first-hand feel of how it actually works. But basically, what the technology that actually is embedded in the Layar app is an image recognition technology. And what is really great about it is that you don't really need any special printing technology. It doesn't mean that you have to have a special type of paper or that you need anything within the print process. You don't need any special codes. And in fact, we like to think that it is a better alternative to QR codes, mainly because it doesn't really involve ugly visuals and it enables you to show rich media like video and 3D content directly in the scanning experience. So you're not automatically transferred to a website, although you could, but you are actually seeing the print come to life and transform. Not to mention that it gives a wow effect. So, it's a really great way to keep readers engaged and give them a whole new, reading experience altogether. Now, one of the things that we like to talk about here at Layar is how the future of online is offline. And this is where the whole subject about the Internet of Things comes in and how the digital world is actually seeping into reality. And I'm sure you've heard about Google Glass. I'm sure you've heard about iBeacon and, all of these really interesting wearables and devices that kind of connect us to the Internet at the same time as responding to our reality. One of the most interesting facts here is basically that, it's a research going on by Juniper, that AR is probably around a $1 billion market opportunity. And not to mention that the platform, it grows on the mobile platform, is growing really fast, right? We have 1.5 billion smartphones around the world. And what is also really interesting about this research in particular is that it shows highlights about what people do, what do they like, what do they see, and what do they like to scan, right? So all of these insights can give us a better look on what people like to do and how they behave with these devices. Right. So going a bit further on that, let's talk a little bit about Layar, because we've been talking a lot about the ecosystem, the online ecosystem. Maybe something that you'd like to know is the fact that we are growing really fast. We have more than 38 million downloads and a growing market in the US and the Netherlands. Obviously, we're based here, but also in UK and Canada and Germany. So wherever we see a high adoption rate of smartphones, we're there. Augmented reality is there. And indeed, we are the #1 mobile AR app. Very proud to have that and very proud to bring all of this information to you, hoping that it'll help you in pursuing your education goals. maybe something that I should mention here, we're a company that were founded in 2009, backed by Intel and Prime and Sunstone, and happy to have 30 people on board here in Amsterdam, New York, and Toronto. So wherever you are, contact us. We'll be there. We're everywhere, and we're really happy to answer your questions in different areas, not just education. So stay tuned with us for that. But since we're on the topic now today, let's focus a little bit on the educational aspect. And I'm going to start with a quote that I think is really fit for this sector. It's actually by John Dewey, who's an American philosopher, who basically says, if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. It's safe to say that children and students nowadays are very, very different from what they used to be 20 years ago. And it's not only because of the internet, but it's also about the way we actually learn. It's changing at a dramatic pace. And, as dramatic as that might sound, it's also exciting. There's exciting times ahead for education professionals. And the fact that we see this demographic change in preferences and learning habits, and also high levels of expenditure, drive a growth forecast, right, of 7% per year. And so education technology actually within that is predicted to be the fastest growing market. You'll find all of this information actually in the industry overview, which will be available tomorrow to you, so you can get a deeper sense of how what I'm actually referring to here, and the study that we're basing these facts on. But something that's probably pretty interesting to mention here is the textbooks paradox, and this is something that paradox. And this is very interesting because although you have a tendency of thinking, well, with all the devices we have at hand and the free access to all of this information, people will probably move away from textbooks. And actually, it seems that the sales of textbooks might be actually growing pretty fast in 2014. So there's a high demand, although we have all of these digital disruptions, right? And although technology is making decisive strides in this sector, and that students embrace innovations pretty easily, as I was mentioning before, it's a different generation, different type of learners that we're talking about. A recent study shows that only 1/3 of middle school students actually prefer to read digital materials rather than printed textbooks. And that can be for a variety of reasons here. And I'm not going to go into that right now, but because you're going to have all of these details in the industry overview. But it's really interesting to see how, although we have access via our via our devices to all of this amount of information, curated information via textbooks is still a very valuable resource, and apparently students still want to engage with them. And traditional approaches to education still seem resilient, right? So kids still read textbooks, adults still read textbooks. But maybe one shift in this whole paradigm is the fact that mobile devices have also become lifestyle companions. So they're very easy to use. And also the fact that mobile learning is becoming an integral part of education, and apparently is very popular in the K-12 education. Another interesting study here shows that among all the students at the university who owned a tablet, 82% said that they use the device for academic purposes. So, all of these coming our way, challenge us to rethink education and to rethink the learning process. And this is where we think we can play a big role in bridging that offline content, so the print content, with the online content. So here, this might seem like a lot of information all at once, but here are some of the reasons why we think and we advocate for augmented reality in education. And for instance, it supports retention. It reignites the students' interest in the classroom. So it improves the information retention. It grows the engagement because basically you're making students engage with the print content, and they actually need to work to actually gain extra content there. So it's an enhanced educational experience, as we like to call it. Then also it supports alumni communication. So enhanced communication materials also show how innovative the institution is. So from that point of view, alumni can see that you are, adopting augmented reality and technology in general in your educational process and your communication towards them. And the fourth one would be supporting the current trend of connectivity and immediacy. And it's useless to say, obviously, students are used to being online all the time. And with AR printed textbooks, basically, they could be updated live with more information, being actually engaged in the whole learning experience over there. Another one would be enabling assessment support. So basically, you can help your students, or you can actually assess how far they have progressed. You can put polls in there. You enable distance learning, so the teachers don't have to be there in person. Let's say you are studying abroad, or you're studying, let's say, doing distance learning, as I mentioned, and you don't have anybody else to explain something to you, but you're able to actually scan the textbook or the print content that you're learning from and receive a video explanation of the specific material, right? It can be videos, animations, links, and so on and so forth. And the seventh reason would be extending the life of print materials. And that means that you can actually update it, you can put more information to print content and not have to reprint and go through the whole process again. And another important aspect here where augmented reality can actually help you in terms of the educational sector is also in school marketing and branding efforts. And you can augment school brochures, flyers, posters with videos or slideshows of how the campus looks like, how the classes are, maybe some video interviews of professors or some student testimonials, or even link to more information about the school itself, pictures of alumni, or maybe some of their testimonials as well, and obviously make use of social media as well. Aside from that, you can link to enrollment forms, so on and so forth. So there's like a myriad of opportunities there for you, not only during the learning or teaching process, but also in promoting your institution to potential students. So let's just jump to a couple of examples. And these are examples that we've seen in the industry or have been pointed out by others to us on how Layar and augmented reality has been used in the educational sector. And here's an example from the University of Winnipeg that published a career services magazine called PACE. And it basically enables readers to see more information about the magazine and gives access to, let's say, for example, on the cover page, to the Winnipeg transit data. Another one is the Oxford Brookes University, and this is an undergraduate prospectus for 2014, and you have a lot of information there about their school, about what kind of what kind of classes you can take, additional guidance. There's a lot of different types of information that you can actually provide that otherwise would not be possible via print content. Here's another one from George Washington University, and again, this is this is recruitment material, marketing material to basically show what can you do at the George Washington University and what are some of the possibilities by joining the school. Troy University as well. This is basically another campaign that promotes the university and kind of encourages students to explore their inner warrior. So it's a really interesting, really interesting example. It's a video, indeed. You'll be able to scan it because you'll get the deck tomorrow. So I highly encourage you to try all of these examples and, let us know what you think about them. And if you happen to come across other examples, feel free to send them over. Here's another one, Dinosaur Encyclopedia. It's basically a really nice encyclopedia for kids that shows pretty interesting facts about the prehistorical world. And it shows different species of dinosaurs, how they attack their prey, what are their defense techniques, their skeletons. A lot of this information is basically videos and a couple of links. So it's a very simple, straightforward approach to get the kids engaged with the print content and obviously improve retention, information retention.
Sorry, Georgia, before you move to the next example, I hear some people have issues with the sound. Is anybody else experiencing the same problem? Please let us know.
Okay.
But I don't see any more complaints, so please go ahead.
Okay. So please let us know if you can't hear us very well. Here's another example from Pearson, and this is actually a really funny one. I hope you can scan it tomorrow when you get the deck. It's basically, connecting a textbook with digital content is just a simple video of these funny robots dancing. But it basically helps the children who are reading the print material, get a different point of view on what they're reading at. And what's really great is that it gives them a feeling of being interactive with the print content, just getting a bit more immersed in the learning experience. And here's another one talking about being immersed in the learning experience. This is actually a personalized educational map for kids, and it's actually available for buying. So it's let me just skip really quickly here. What you see here on the slide is actually the map of the world, whereby the kids can actually scan it and see different augments of animals or like specific landmarks on each continent and get extra information about that specific location. It gets the learning experience to a new level, to a new interaction level, and not to mention that, at the end of the day, this kind of interaction with educational material can help the child remember everything much better and, make it a bit more meaningful to them, actually. Boise State University, another one. This is actually a series of posters that, show still images, show video and audio related content based on each of these different planets. And as you can read there, these students have created the posters based on the concept that humans use both science and religion to explain the unexplainable. Again, you're more than welcome to scan these as soon as you get the slides. But again, it shows the various possibilities of using augmented reality in the educational sector. And posters are a really interesting use case, as you'll see in a bit. We're going to be talking about this in a second. Here's another one where USGS uses augmented reality to teach kids about the water cycle. So as soon as you scan this, you will see all those bubbles being filled up with more information about how the atmosphere works, how does the water evaporate, how does it become rain, and how does it go into the earth, and so on and so forth. So it basically uses these visual components to make the learning process more meaningful and easier to remember. Another one, and this is actually from a primary school teacher in Estelas de Cantabria. I hope I pronounced it well, in Spain. This is actually for a class of 9-year-olds, and what they had to do was to actually research about energy resources and draw and write all of the information that they found regarding this particular subject. And the teacher then has augmented these with useful videos about the subject. Again, and not to mention that it also possibly creates a nicer relationship with the teacher. I hope, I don't know, but it's an interesting point of view. It's an interesting way of creating content. While you would have it before, students creating content and presenting it to their teachers, you have a different interaction now, whereby the teacher also contributes to the project of the student. So it's really interesting to see this kind of examples. Please scan this. This is a really sweet project. Exeter College as well created augmented door hangers for their students. It's a very, very nice gesture, I would say. They send a really nice video of students and teachers wishing everybody good luck with the new school year. Yeah. Yep. There you go. And we're skipping that. So we're going to go and talk about the 7 tips for AR in education. And what do I mean by tips? I mean, a couple of concepts that you can tackle in the educational sector, and things that we've thought that would be really interesting to see and that would help you in your educational efforts. One of them, and probably the simplest of all, is basically to add word explanations with text and images. What better way of delivering more content or teaching your students something extra than to actually give more information, or maybe even a tutorial on how to use things or how to study a specific topic, or maybe if you're talking about a math formula, how to actually go about solving a problem. You can use that and enhance the pages with this kind of information. Keep it simple for you to make, so use something that's existing and just add a simple textual explanation to it. The second one would be what I mentioned before, was videos and tutorials, and it's fairly simple. You can either record it yourself, or you can use tutorials available on YouTube, anything like that. Anything that you think would help your students understand the print content better, go for it. It's a really great way of complementing the print content and bridging it to the existing online content. A third one would be to add a pop quiz at the end of a chapter. And basically, what you could do here is that you, as a teacher, you can create a test and get all the collected answers for a review from your students. So let's say the student reads through the chapter, learns, and maybe you don't necessarily need to have them do a test, but you still want to verify how much of that they've actually retained. You can create that kind of testing system, so a pop quiz or a poll at the end of the chapter, and they can scan the page, they can tap on the right answer, and they can, then you can probably see how much they've actually, how much they actually remember from the chapter. You'll have more information on that in the industry overview document. I can't really go through it in very much detail, but it's just for you to get an idea of what is possible. Here's another one. You can have, I know this is a funny image, but you can add reviews by other students in either video or text. And this type of content actually needs a good involvement from your side as a teacher. So you gather feedback from your former students, and they are able to offer tips to existing students on how to study the material, and share what they liked about the book, what they didn't like, and any kind of tips and tricks on that. The fifth one, obviously, as I mentioned before, creating educational posters. And here you can use a lot of video content, a lot of text content, images. What you can also do is, put them in well-visited places around school. And in this way, you can actually get students engaged, get them scanning, and help them learn more about a subject that really matters, right? A sixth one would be creating a treasure hunt with images. And this is something that we've actually seen it happen. You create a treasure hunt by hanging different images around the school. And this is maybe a pretty important aspect. Make sure you don't hang them too high. If you have a really, if you have a short, if you have, small kids that are actually participating in the project, make sure it's easy for them to scan the posters. Basically, what you could do is you could have students collect letters from these posters. And let's say each poster would depict an animal or an object that starts with that letter. And they can collect all of these different letters around the school. For example, they could form a word and they could win the challenge. What's really nice about this is that it gets them engaged at a different level. Not only does it require them to walk around the school and scan a poster about a specific animal or whatever your topic of choice is, but it can also enable them to collaborate with one another. So they can also do it as a team project. And the seventh one, and this is something that we've seen actually from Avenue School, which is a private school in New York. You might know it by the fact that, was it Tom Cruise's child who is attending there? I'm not very sure. Olga says she doesn't know. But no, obviously it's a well-regarded private school in New York. The idea behind it is that you create a timeline poster. So each class or group of students fills the timeline with information on history, art, or whatever it is. And it basically becomes an interactive learning tool, learning by creating. After augmenting the timeline, which is literally just a timeline printed out on paper, after augmenting it, students from other groups, from other classes can actually scan it and learn more about a specific topic and see it on a timeline, right? So it creates a mental timeline for them as well. And what's also pretty interesting here is that you can also get them working on their computers, so they can use the Layar Creator themselves and become proficient in augmented reality. Why not? You'll have more information on that in our industry overview. So no worries. I know we're going through a lot of information right now. So I'm just going to walk through the product really quick. The Layar app, if you haven't had the chance to test it out, please do. Please download it on your device. Works both on smartphones and tablets. And just for you to keep it on top of your mind, it's a free app. Works on iOS and Android, and it can show both 2D and 3D content, as well as reading QR codes. What you can do is basically choose one of the three flavors, as we like to call it. You can either do it yourself, all of this content creation. You can work with Layar Interactive Print Services. We're here to help you with that. Or you can work with one of our partners, depending on the size of the project that you would like to embark in. And this is actually the browser tool that you can use, the Layar Creator. It's a drag and drop content creation tool. And basically, you're able to enhance a page in less than 1 minute. We have a lot of tutorials on that, a lot of videos on that, and you're more than welcome to join one of our Get Started webinars or get more out of interactive print. Just on top of the mind, these are basically the types of content that you can use there. So you have website buttons, buy buttons, email, etc. Possibly what makes most sense for you would be the videos and the media side. So you can also listen to audio explanations, enable them to share things on social media, and so on and so forth. What is content? What is digital content without key performance indicators? What is it without statistics? So if you would like to see if all your students have scanned the content that you indicated that they should scan, or if you're creating something for a larger audience and you would like to know how well it's performing, you have that possibility as well. You're able to see how many people have scanned, when they have scanned, and what exactly they have clicked on in their augmented reality experience. And if you're thinking, what kind of content should I actually augment? I would say target 2 or 3 of these separate things. Make it relevant, make it informative. If you can make it exclusive, so showing behind the scenes or showing, I don't know, something that is not normally included in print content, that is really great. Or obviously, it's very good to have an interactive component to the kind of content you are actually offering there. So yeah, it doesn't have to be all 5 of these, but I strongly suggest that you target 2 or 3, a combination of these. In terms of activation, right? Usage is really directly tied to visual activation. And basically, the only way you can let people know that print content is augmented is to add a call to action and a set of instructions. And this is something that I need to stress out because we see a lot of examples of print content and really great digital content placed on top that is not accessed precisely because there's no way for the readers, in this specific case, students or anybody else learning, to actually know that it's augmented, right? So make sure you put these calls to action, such as the one on the page right there that says scan this page with the Layar app. Make sure you place them on all pages that you have enhanced with Layar. And if you need more help, we're here to help you. Again, we have a Layar Help Center where you can find a lot of information about the Layar Creator, a lot of tutorials, best practices and tips. Have a look through it and you'll see a lot of information there to help you get started. And what maybe I would like to mention here is what really makes it great to use Layar as a platform to augment your educational content is the fact that we're the largest by far. We have 10 million downloads in the US, 38 million worldwide, as I mentioned before, but also more than 75,000 marketeers and publishers that do this. And amongst these are a lot of educators and a lot of teachers, a lot of institutions that are seeing the potential in this. Not only that, but it's also the easiest platform to use because you can actually make a page interactive in under a minute. And we have a fixed price. So I'm going to move to that. And
sorry, I just had a user saying that sound died. I hope it's something on his end and the rest of you can hear us. Okay, he says it's back.
It's back.
Great.
Okay, yeah. All good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And this is where we actually introduce the Layar discounted pricing. And I'm going to mention in a second who actually qualifies for this, but basically you'll see a lower rate for each page. It's $20 per page if you buy up to 25 pages, and the more you buy, the more discount you get. Not only that, but you also get 50% off all other products and services. Who actually qualifies for this? Small groups and organizations in the education, charity, art, culture, or nonprofit sectors. And here are a couple of examples of what kind of projects we're talking about. It would be a school yearbook or university recruitment materials, charity event flyers, or museum brochures. And basically, this is because we see a need of adopting augmented reality in education. Not only that, but we see the potential in it, and we would like to support you in bringing that in your institution or in your organization. So we thought, okay, let's meet halfway and let's support this sector because if anything, I think this is exactly what's going to drive the market to really exciting content and to innovative ways of using augmented reality in education. If you need our help, we are here to help you. We have a range of services for you. We can help you with the ideation and the planning, so the concept of your campaign. We can help you with the production part, but we can also help you review and analyze the results of your campaign. If you have more questions on that, please contact us at sales@layar.com. And obviously, you can find more information on that on our website. Otherwise, you can also contact one of our Layar partners. You can work with one of the 60 Layar partners worldwide, and you can find yours on layar.com. slash partners. Depending on the size of the project, again, we would love to point you out to someone who can help you in a meaningful way with your educational project. Now let's move to questions and answers. Here we have a lot of questions, Olga.
Yeah, thank you for the lovely presentation, Georgia. I see quite a lot of questions. I want to start saying again that this presentation has been recorded. We will send you tomorrow a follow-up email with a link to where you can get this overview, the slides, and the recording. So we get a lot of questions. No worries about it. You will, everybody who registered in this webinar will get it. It's great to see a lot of feedback from you guys. I'll start with Pam. She said that they had tried Layar in the classroom. They had the children research the different parts of the world with an ecological focus. It worked wonderfully as the parents were able to look at their own children doing a presentation.
Oh, that's really great.
That's really great.
That's really great to hear. Thank you for sharing that. That's really great.
I'll move to Larissa, however, who has a bit of a issue with the examples we showed so far. So she would like to see examples that promote higher order thinking.
Okay.
As I said, Larissa, already to you, we share any nice examples we see, and we'd love to get the kind of examples you mean.
Yeah.
If you have something to share with us, we would be more than happy.
Yes, please.
I don't know if you, Georgia.
I don't recall. Larissa, as Olga was saying, indeed, we're sharing some of the better examples that we see. We see a lot of people trying different things with augmented reality in education, but indeed, we would love to see more examples on that. So if you happen to come across or have any idea regarding this, please share it with us. If anything, we can also suggest it forward to other institutions that we're in talks with. So it would be great.
So I'll move to John's question. Your technology is great. Thank you, John. Biggest problem is how to encourage people to download the app. Any great ideas to encourage that?
So, John, to answer your question, this is exactly what I meant by adding calls to action and instructions. And that would be the primary way of instructing people or encouraging them to download the app. It starts with your print content, indeed, but what also really helps, and we've seen a tremendous effect, is communication prior to getting the print material. So let's say you're augmenting a brochure. Please make sure that you use all the communication channels that you have available to let people know that they need to scan the app and they can find amazing digital content on top. So
next to that, they should know why they should scan. I mean, if there's something beneficial for them, they would definitely go ahead. And that's why we say it's really good to have specific calls to action.
Absolutely.
What they should expect after scanning. And of course, there has to be something for them there.
Absolutely.
Going to Mariel's question, I have a question about AR printing school books, so not the school's marketing. How does it work when the book is already used in Layar? And is it a task for teachers or educational publishers?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's I would say, and this is something that we promote as a best practice, I would say in general, we do not expect a lot of school books already to be augmented. That's one. The second thing would be that we do not generally recommend all pages to be augmented. So inevitably, there will be pages that are not augmented and that can be augmented by the teacher. So we don't really want to set a straight line there and say, oh, it's only the educational publisher's job to augment it, because we believe teachers can also bring a lot of useful information or a lot of value through augmented reality to their students, or information that is tailored specifically to their needs. So by all means, we encourage both sides to augment. Yeah.
Exactly. I'll move to Jim questions. The map was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
has anyone done formal tests to see if using the AR does significantly improve memory compared with the live teacher who talks the entire classroom through the map without AR? For example, vs just providing a video link that they look up on the computer. In other words, in the classroom, does the act of scanning with the device really differentiate outcomes compared to just looking the content from the browser?
Yeah, I don't think there's any specific research on that, Jim. But I would say, compared to a teacher, obviously verbal explanations go so far, and it's always great to see a human face to it. As much as you try, though, you can bring even more information that is relevant to the subject via videos and via digital content. So if we're going to compare verbal explanation with digital content, I think we both can see the benefits and the disadvantages of those. However, if you would compare it to actually seeing the content on the browser, what is missing there is probably the contextual aspect of it. When you are scanning, let's say, a map, like the interactive map over there, you lose the you're in the context. You are in a learning context, so to say. As soon as you disrupt that and you move away from that map and go to your browser, you're probably not going to be as receptive to the digital content. And this is just an assumption, but I'm just thinking context does play a large role in that. And I think this is where augmented reality brings a lot of value in the learning process.
Jim has another question. Has Layar been used for any type of health education?
I remember the neurosurgery journal in the US.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we have that on our website, Jim, I think, and also on our Pinterest board. You're more than welcome to check it out. This is one of the examples that we have at hand, actually. Yeah.
Let's move to Emily's question. I work for a printing company that does a lot of work for local colleges. Could we get the education pricing for these clients?
This is something that we will have to check, Emily. I cannot draw a clear line.
It looks like, so if the universities would like to invest and augment their brochures, it looks like something that should apply for this special pricing. However, if you as an agency would like to resell it, I don't think that should. It's not applicable. I'm afraid.
Yeah. So Emily, if you're so kind, just tell us a bit more about your story at sales@layar.com, and let's hope we can sort it through.
Amanda, you have a strange question. I don't understand. If you can just write something again, would be great. I'm moving back to John now. Is there any possibility you can improve your stats in the future? Would be good to be able to see who the user was who looked at the publication.
Would you like to
I'm afraid, John, that we do plan in general to improve our stats. We want definitely to make them valuable for you, but this is something we just can't provide, and we don't really want to go through that. I'm not sure how. It's a privacy issue, and we don't really want to.
Invade the
exactly. So expect some improvement in stats. The CSV files have been improved, but I don't think we're gonna provide this kind of information about specific user. Darren has an interesting question. Can a business partner of Layar get educational pricing too? We provide AR services to print buyers and printers, including education. Darren, the same as we said before, you're not allowed to resell it. You're not. I guess, it's a new pricing. We just announced it yesterday. We see it case by case, but we really want universities to get in touch with us to get this special pricing. Ray would like to talk a bit more about the test.
Okay, Ray, you're going to find more information on that and also an example in our industry overview on how to actually create that pop quiz. I think that's what you're referring to. Basically, the way it works, you're going to be using Google Forms, and you're going to be using the answers that you're offering to the students to pick from will be basically links as opposed to HTML augments. So, it sounds like a very complicated thing what I'm saying right now, but just stay tuned. You're going to find more information tomorrow in our industry overview document. But indeed, it's a really interesting idea that you can actually tackle, and we're actually really curious how it works for you. So please let us know.
Just to say, it's really great to get your feedback. I see a lot of questions. We have 8 minutes left. We'll try to get back to everybody. It seems impossible. I see more and more questions here, but we'll try. So Andrea here says he's interested in if they are using 3D content, but the limitation is that you can't animate it. There is only animation of the texture. Well, Andrea, the limitation we have so far, and we do plan to improve it, is that you cannot import models, 3D models that are already that have animation, but you can use our API animation and you can animate the whole model. For example, you cannot have a human 3D model that moves the legs, but you can rotate the whole object there. But stay tuned, because we are aware of these limitations and we plan to offer a solution soon. Mathew here has a question regarding the presentation. He's going to be presenting in a conference later this month discussing technology in the classroom, whether he can use any of these slides.
I think it should be okay.
Yeah,
we're happy to be featured. Yes, all of this information is public, and you'll be able to find it online. So I think it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. Corina has a question regarding pricing. If they want to update the page in the future, if it costs more. No, the pricing will remain the same. So actually, after a year, the pages will be archived, and then you have to pay the same price to republish them. James is asking, and we see this question a lot, Georgia, can you scan an image on a computer screen?
Yes, it is possible.
Yeah, it is possible. We do our tests by scanning images in the screen. There are, however, issues if there is a lot of reflection in the screen and how good the screen is. But in general, I don't know where this question comes from, but we see a lot of people asking if they can augment websites or something online. We don't really see how this can be useful, because you are already, we really want to connect the printed material, the offline to online. So if you are already online, there is no use to do that.
Yeah.
I'm moving to Robin. I'm not clear about what constitutes a page. I would be using the program with higher education students on multiple class projects.
Okay. So what we mean by pages here, Robin, is literally print pages. Is the way it actually works, Layar Creator, is that you upload all the pages that you would like to add digital content on top of. You add it in our system, and they will be, ready for you to edit, to drag and drop content on top, buttons, videos, etc. So I'm not sure if what you mean here is that you will be using the same pages with different content, seeing you have multiple class projects here. But indeed, that's what we actually mean by page. So it's literally the print page that you would like to put content on top of.
I'm moving to Brian. He has a really nice and valid question. How do you monitor image owner when content is applied to it? An existing textbook, for example.
Yeah. So what happens here, Brian, is, and it's a common concern, as Olga was mentioning, what happens here is that more people can augment the same image, right? So let's say you have a textbook cover and you see 3 different results on top. What usually happens is that the owner of the page, so the person who actually, or the person, or a publication that actually holds the copyright, comes back to us and tells us, okay, well, guys, we have a problem, and we need to only display our content on top. We have a takedown notice for that, and you basically tell us whether you are the one who holds the copyright. You give us proof of that, and we'll automatically take down the rest of the content. So obviously, the person who holds the copyright will have priority over everybody else.
Exactly. Thank you, Georgia. I'll move to Mark's question. When you mention an assessment, are you suggesting using the HTML content to direct users to self-made content, or is there a built-in quiz feature in Layar?
Let me see if I actually understand it well. Yeah, technically what I mean by assessment, it is an HTML augment, so an HTML component to that, and it directs to specific to websites. But I think we have some ideas on how to and built-in quiz. So this is stuff that we're working on still, so I cannot yet say, oh, we have something ready for you. But ultimately, it is HTML content. You can also use Poll Daddy if it's any easier for you, and basically link to the specific answers and links that are valid for that.
Let's move to Damian. How can you use a video link without opening in YouTube, so a photocopy of a movie still moves to live seamlessly? So Damian, we have really nice examples in our really nice tutorials in our forums. We get this question a lot. I'm afraid that YouTube videos cannot be played in AR. You need to host them elsewhere. I would, please go online in our forums and check. We have some hosting solutions there for you. There is 1 minute left, and we have so many questions. We are really sorry we cannot get back to everybody. I'll finish up with Sally's question. She's asking if there is a free version. I suppose you talk about the sponsored program. Yes, we still offer that. It's for specific students. It's for teachers and classrooms. They can still get free pages. Yeah, but this is limited to 10 pages. And with this question, Georgia, I think we should. Yeah, I'm sorry, we cannot.
We will have to end the webinar. But thank you so much for joining us today. This was Georgia and Olga together with Max. You can find all of this information at layar.com/education, and you will get the deck. You will get the industry overview, and you will get the recording of this. So thank you so much for joining today. It was a pleasure to have you on board. And again, please, if you see more examples and if you create some of them, share it with us. We're always glad to see really great digital content being created. And with that, we will say bye-bye, and hope to see you for our next events. Thank you very much for joining.